Hi, I'm Dean Sage.
And I'm Jack Kervin.
And this is Show Me Your Deck,
a podcast where we explore the intersections of oracles and chakras,
using our original decks to create new insights. All right, episode 65. Here we go.
We're hitting the speed limit finally.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Actually, they raised the speed limit on one of the freeways down here, and it shocked me. I was like, what?
What they say? Wait, what? 80?
Yeah. No. I think it was 75 on this one part.
Yeah, we have some 75s down here, mostly 70. I think I've seen a few 75s. Where did I go where I saw an 80?
The Audubon, Texas?
I don't know. I was like Florida or something. I don't know. Somewhere where these crazy people are. Yeah. I mean, people drive 80 anyway. Might as well make it the speed limit, I suppose.
No, I mean, that's the thing. Like in the morning, I actually caught myself going almost 90 because it's the morning. I'm not there. Like it takes me an hour to wake up and I'm driving for that hour. So not the best, I'm sure. But I'm just driving along. I'm flowing with traffic. There was like 5 cars around me and we're all flowing. And then I look at the speedometer. I was like, oh shit.
And then one of them passed you. Like you were going slow. It's like, oh, speed demon going 120.
So I was like, I'm gonna slow down a little bit. Like I like 75. I'll push 80 in certain parts in the morning just because everyone's like going that way, and like I don't like to. My spouse is always like, get out of this lane, get out of the lane. You got. I'm like, I'm from California. We just drive in the fast lane. Like we don't like this whole the fast lane or the left lane is for passing only. I'm like, it's the fast lane. That's where you go when you want to go fast. Like I hate this East Coast. It's not just the East Coast, but this is passing only. I'm like, I'm like, no, if I'm going 80 and you want to go 120, you can pass me in the right. You can get your ass over and around if you want to go that fast. If we're going to go 25 miles over the speed limit, by all means, you want to go 45 over, that's you. I'm not going to get out of your way so that you can drive recklessly. I'm sorry. No, that's not me.
Not when I'm already being reckless enough as it is.
Exactly. I'm already breaking the law and you want to break it more and you want to get mad at me for not letting you break it more.
Yeah. I tend to stay in the right because I drive red cars and it's just better for me to set a cruise control and just stick with that. I don't really get tickets very much. And actually I heard it's not the color that matters anymore. It's the make and model. They're looking for expensive cars, not red ones.
I used to drive downstate and there I would put on the cruise control because I have a car length setting. Mm-hmm. So I would be like, I want 3 car lengths. And I put it at a decent clip. I don't remember what it was because I can't remember what the downstate speed limit is. But anyway, I would put it at a good clip. And then I would just drive along, and then when it got too slow in the right lane, I would get in the left lane and pass. But this was an actual 2-lane highway where it really was a passing lane. It was country back roads. I'm like, okay, on country back roads, I will get over to the right and pass on the left, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm like, 5-lane, 10-lane, no.
Yeah, you got options.
Yeah,
got options. I have smart cruise control on mine, so you can set the distance between yourself and the car in front of you where it automatically slows down to keep that minimum distance. That's what I was talking about. Yeah, the 3 car lengths. Mm-hmm. So I just didn't even worry about it. And then I would get over, it would automatically speed up. It was great. And then I would, so I would just, if I'm going on country back roads, I'll be respectful, but no, not on the 4. There's 4 lanes of highway, speed demon, go. Yeah, pick a lane.
Have fun. My favorite is where I'm actually going the speed of traffic, but I keep distance. I don't tailgate the car in front of me.
Oh no.
I'm because we're going 80, I can't stop in time if I'm on their ass but then they whip around me and then they end up going the same exact speed except they're 1 car ahead. I'm like, you are geniuses. And then they tailgate the car in front of them and then they're constantly braking. I'm like, do you not understand anything about driving? Do you not understand anything about gas efficiency, your brake pads? What about this? What do you think is going to happen that you're going to get there 10 seconds earlier? What do you think is going to happen? We're all going the same speed.
what I think is really great is in street traffic, when somebody acts really aggressive like that and they zoom away and they get on you, and it's like, oh, it's actually quite dangerous because there's cars around. They're just being complete and total cockheads. And they do all this drama.
Same
and
light.
Then you end up next to them at the stoplight. I'm like, don't you feel clever now? You got here 6 seconds before me, and here we are. And I'll wave at them. I'm like, how you doing? How you mom and them? It's been a whole 6 seconds since I saw you. It's like, what is all this?
I don't understand it. Because like I drive about 35 minutes on the freeway, and then I drive about 25 minutes on the city streets. And the city street is 4 miles. It is 4 miles from my exit to my work. 4 miles, 20 to 25 minutes. Mm-hmm. And they do that. They whip around, they race through traffic, and then we're both at the same light at the same time.
Or end up right behind them. It's like, it's like, isn't this the one that just passed me? It's like, and now I'm right behind him. What's even better is when you're right next to him. It's like, okay.
Like, unless it's one of those timed streets where, like, if you do go slower than the timing, like, you will hit the lights. But if you go the speed of the timing, like, we were in Ocean City, and it was brilliant. The whole strip was all timed. So if you drove, I think I was driving like 30 miles an hour. And green light, just, click on this. This artery, no timing, no thought in the world. Horrible. Some places are timed intersections, some places are sensor intersections, like utter chaos.
So when I was living in Los Angeles, I don't remember where I was going. I don't know. It's too long ago. But they had this scheme where they set up the timing of the red light so that you had to stop at every single one of them. And I had like stopped at like 10 and finally just ran one. And then this camera went off. And there wasn't anybody coming. There wasn't a cross traffic. So I ended up being in a class action lawsuit against the state of California, where they had to refund us all that stuff and all the money that we had to pay to like take these driving classes and all this rigmarole, because that county, or that part of the county, I don't know, however it worked, that city had purposefully set up their red lights so people would get mad and run them so they could issue tickets. I was like, nah. So when they contacted me, they're like, we noticed that this happened to you in this city. Would you like to participate? I was like, yes, I would. I'll be the one to testify if you need a face on the stand. I was so mad, but I got that money back. I got those points removed. And these were short blocks too, like those little square blocks somewhere. I don't know, is it Santa Monica or somewhere? And like the blocks are only like 50 feet long, and they put up all these new red lights, and it was just this red light trap. And they were sequenced so that you had to stop at every single one. I was like, what is happening? I thought I was in the Twilight Zone. And nope, finally ran one. And clip, I was like, oh man. Oh, I was so mad.
Yeah.
We sound like two cranky old men.
I mean,
get off my lawn.
Essentially, yeah.
I mean, well, yeah.
They keep
driving. Get off my lawn.
they keep moving the millennial Gen X boundary. Like, I am a millennial because the boundary that I really believe is true is that where did computers come into your existence? Like, if computers came into your existence when you were a kid, you're a millennial. Like, that makes sense. If you didn't have computers as a kid, you're Gen X. So I went to school with a lot of Gen Xers because I was a year younger than everyone. But yeah, they're like, it's 1980, it's 1981, it's 1980, it's 1979. Like, they just keep pivoting it back and forth. Yeah. And but I'm not Gen X. Like, you and I are very similar. Like, we did have a lot of similarities with our childhood, but not quite. Like, you definitely have.
I'm right. I'm Gen X. I'm 76. You can't really roll it back from there.
Well, you have, but see, you had the typical Gen X childhood. I grew up with Gen Xers right ahead of me, so I saw it. Like, it was there, but that wasn't my childhood. Like, I didn't have that same kind of childhood. I didn't have the like get out till sundown.
Pickle jar in the basement to get in the house after school.
No.
I thought everybody had a key under the pickle jar in the basement to get in the house after school. You thirsty? Pick that hose pipe up.
So yeah, like I saw it. Like, I saw it just ahead of me. But like, as I was coming up, like I always had relations with the younger, like because the younger kids, like I was more in line with them because like their parents were different. I had a computer at 2 years old.
Oh no. I mean, I was exposed to them when I was itty bitty, but they weren't for my use. So, I mean, in that way, I might have been a little bit irregular, but my grandfather was a nuclear physicist and he needed a computer at home. And there's a TRS-80. It was a TRS-80 Model 4 or Model X. I don't remember. It was one of the very first ones that you could get from Radio Shack. And it had some little clunkety games on it that were really fun. And I was like 5, but that's not what the computer was for. I was just exposed to it.
I had Carmen Sandiego and Math Rabbit and all that stuff. But before this podcast becomes Gen X meets Millennial, let's actually find out. Maybe we're going to talk about generations today. I don't know, because the dice of doom.
And how they can't fucking drive. Can't nobody drive but me. All right, here we go. Tetrahedron of Doom gives us deck number 1. We're starting sassy.
Ooh, okay, I like it.
Okay, got the deck here. Let's see which card number we're going to roll this right here. Don't be 7. I'm so sick of 7. 40.
Oh. So millennial.
Yeah. Let's see. 40. Aha. Okay. So this is the third eye, blue water IC, as it is intersected by yellow, Manipura, I do. So IC as it meets I do, blue and yellow. It's water and fire. Prioritize your polish. Create inviolable sessions. Eliminate distractions. Refine your expertise. Prioritize your polish. Create inviolable sessions. Eliminate distractions. Refine your expertise. We had this one way back. Way back. So with this one, I remember when I was creating this one, prioritize your polish. I was thinking in terms of the way people tell you to, I don't remember the turn of phrase. It's a cliche, but do what you're good at and get better and better and better at it. And I
can't think of it either. I can't think of something like that. But
you know what I mean? It's the spirit of that. Practice makes perfect. There it is. So practice makes perfect. But in this sense, what do you want to be perfect at? What do you want to polish? So prioritize what you want to polish. Don't practice something mindlessly to be perfect at it, especially if you don't enjoy it. So prioritize your particular polish. And to do that, the suggestions here are to create inviolable sessions so that when you are trying to practice this skill, you don't let anything interrupt you. Just close the world out for a little while, whatever this little session is, whether it's an hour, 30 minutes, whatever, and really focus on polishing this, whatever this is that you have chosen to give your energy to. Eliminate distractions. So while you're in this session, you don't have timers going off. You don't have calls coming through. You don't have cats knocking over vases in the middle of the night. Thank you, Pierre. Refine your expertise. So polishing isn't a simple process of just rubbing back and forth until something's shiny. Refinement, that gets down into the nuances where before you can even say something's finished, you have to shape it. Then you can polish it. Like when you see these absolutely magnificent sculptures where it looks like the marble might be alive, like if you were to touch the body of this sculpture, it looks like the flesh might give. That's because of the high polish, but you can't polish that until the shape is the way it's supposed to be. So you have to refine first, and get all that done, and then polish down.
And they have to remove the tool marks.
Oh yeah, all that. But then at the end, they have this piece of rock that looks like it's alive.
My spouse was just talking about this last night. They had, I forget which sculpture it is, but there's a man gripping a woman's thigh.
And you can see the indentation of his fingers.
You can see the flesh giving underneath the pressure. And then actually I was researching this because of the book that I'm writing. But like the where they have the effect of a veil over the face.
Yeah. There's a sculptor who did that in like the 19th century, and it looks like a woman, maybe even a dead woman wearing a veil, and it looks like silk.
It's very interesting. Like they used a lot of tricks and trade in order to make that happen. It's not something that you can do quite with free hand. Like you need some tools to help you out, but it's just gorgeous. Michelangelo actually, because they use Michelangelo's techniques. Michelangelo used to submerge his maquette in water, and then he would lower the water, and he carved top down. So he would carve what he saw above the water, and then he would lower the water, and then he would carve the next layer. And
oh wow, I did not know that.
So on and so
I knew
forth.
I knew that he was famous for saying to chip away the excess to reveal what's already within. I didn't know he did it in such a linear top-down manner. I didn't know that.
Yeah, top down, front to back. I think was him, was he top down all around? I can't. I did this research because one of my characters is a sculptor, so I wanted to have some knowledge of sculpture. Because it's not imperative to the book that I describe the technique exactly, but I wanted to understand what does it take to be a sculptor? Like what do you have to do? So that's interesting. I like the polish, the inviolable sessions. When you said that really stood out to me. That is I do this with work. I don't check my email. I used to have my email go off on my phone every time I got a new message. It would, alert me that I had a new email, and then of course I would go check the email. Yeah. And now it's no, I let the email go for 20, 30 minutes, an hour. It depends on what I'm doing. It absolutely depends on what I'm doing, but I don't feel beholden to it. And I tell people, don't expect instant replies. We have Teams, which is an instant messenger. If you need an instant reply, you go to Teams, and I will respond to a Teams message right away. And I have text messages too, same thing. I will respond to a text message right away. I've explained to people that is priority. So if you have a priority signal, that's how you get it. But email, my expectation is 2 hours. And I tell that to my team. I'm like, if I email you, my expectation is within 2 hours, but my expectation is not right away. My expectation is not that you drop everything and do it now. And so it made such a huge difference in my workday, in my stress levels, and I was able to focus and get more work done because I just tuned out the constant nagging distraction. And then I'll go back and I'll have 10, 12 emails or more. And then I've got to spend some time doing that, but that's okay because now I've got that time allotted. I really believe in time blocking. I used to do it more. My current role, I don't get to do it as much because I have a lot more stuff to fit into the day.
You might just have smaller blocks.
Yeah, well, no, that's what happens. But I don't I used to put it all on the calendar. Now I kind of leave my calendar open so people can schedule. And you can do it. You can make it so that it's free and it doesn't show up and blah, 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 blah. I know I can do it. Before I would actually just block off the calendar, just boom. Cause the last role that I had before this one, I didn't have meetings all day. It was a hands-on kind of thing. I was there doing stuff. So it was easy to block off time and say, I'm going to work on the newsletter from 10 to 11 or something like that. So I like this message is I relate to this message very strongly because that's how you accomplish things in a busy day. And my senior executives, they have to do this too, but they end up doing it really early in the morning or really late at night. And that's why I don't know if I want to be a senior executive. They do end up working more, and I'm because we were talking about this, I think before the show started, you can get paid more, but if the expectation is that you work more when you get paid more, are you really getting paid more? Mm-hmm. Your paycheck's bigger, but your dilution of energy and the effort per dollar probably goes down. Yeah. At this point I get home and I have about 3 hours, which I've learned I can do a lot more with than it felt like I could. Mm-hmm. But I have about 3 hours, and then I take my pills, and I have an hour of that. But I'm I tend to lose that memory because of my sleeping medicine. So depending on how fast it kicks in, I'll forget like the last 20, 30 minutes of me being awake. So it's not an ideal time to like study or do something,
Well, and so that's why at the top it says prioritize your polish.
Yeah.
So we only have this one life that we know of. I mean, you might believe in reincarnation, that's fine. But if you don't remember the next life, then this is the only one that matters. So whatever time you do have, that's yours to be creative with and happy and to pursue joy. Let that be sacred. I mean, if your work is going to be sacred, like you were just describing, if you're not going to allow any distractions at work, then why can't you allow no distractions at play?
Mm-hmm. And sometimes you don't get to choose, like you talked about choosing your polish. Like sometimes you don't get to choose exactly what you're polishing. We just did the DISC assessment. I don't know if have you ever done that? The DISC or C, sorry, DISC. They changed it because D was dominant, and they started to realize because there's a lot of D's in business, and they were like, "Oh, this doesn't feel all right," so they changed it to an eagle. So now the D's are eagles.
I don't know what you're talking about. Why would a D be an eagle? What does that even mean?
Leaders, they're leaders. So they wanted. So but the actual
dicks are eagles. Wait, what? Disc or dick? What is happening? I don't understand. Eagle dicks.
No, there's an assessment where you take like personality tests, and there's 4 options: DISC, okay. And the D stands for dominant. And they realized that like people, because there are a lot of dominant people, but it was sort of sending the wrong message. Like dominant has kind of got a bad connotation now, unless you're into subplay. So they changed it now to birds.
So now it's bisque instead of disc?
No. Each letter stands for a personality trait.
Wait, so it's so dominant they just changed the mascot? How does that change anything? What? I don't even understand. Okay.
So now instead of calling people dominant, we call them eagles.
You see my problem with this. It's like eagle doesn't begin with D.
You have eagles, parrots, doves, and owls.
What did you say to me? Do that again.
Eagles, parrots, doves, and owls.
What if I want to be a peacock?
You can be a parrot.
I mean, I guess that's okay. Parrots are smarter anyway.
Yeah, you're a parrot. You're a high parrot, but you probably have a little dove and probably a good measure of owl in you, because owls are like analytical.
Oh yeah, I must have some
number
what
driven.
Is dove? What is that? You dove eat them? What is
dove?
This?
Is very let's get along. Everybody at peace and harmony. It's the woo-woos that you don't get along with.
No,
but you do have like when you run your classes, you're very dovey.
Yeah, I'm very dovey during class, but I suppose I can have eagle flare-ups, but that's when I really get mad usually.
Well, the eagle is what you need to develop in order to do your business things. And so you do.
Yeah, that's true.
You do.
That's true.
It's not where you lead with. Like it's not your comfort zone, but you over time have had to develop it. And I think this is where we come to the point background I was making is that I'm not an eagle, but I am. Like at work, I'm an eagle. I'm an owl eagle. They're very close. My owl's a little bit higher because I do like data. I do like to make informed decisions. I don't like to I don't just jump. My instinct is not to go. My instinct is to think for a second. But I've had to raise my eagle over time because I absolutely need to be able to lead people and make decisions, right? And so you need the eagle, you need the dominant part of you to do that. So that's an area where I've polished it because I'm at home. I'm a parrot. Like I'm very ideas, kind of flighty.
So parrots are like colorful and loud and
yeah, and they enjoy connection, but they want to innovate. They want to broad ideas. They don't really care about the details necessarily. They're very creative. They're very, very creative.
And then the doves do what?
They're more about like mediation and bringing people together and agreement and togetherness, and everybody gets along and everybody likes each other. And
oh yeah, and when I'm teaching classes, I'm definitely dovey then.
Yeah,
absolutely dovey. My owl is strong. I think parrot. Yeah, I see what you're saying. My eagle is sleeping. My eagle might not have fully hatched.
So the point is like you know, sometimes you don't get to always choose what you polish necessarily. Like sometimes there's a reason that you have to polish an area, but that doesn't mean that you're not gaining from it. And I've gained a lot from it. Like I have become a more decisive person over time. I have become less trapped by not knowing what decision to make. Now I gather what data I have. I look at the time frame, and then I make a decision. But there's things where like if the time frame isn't now or a couple of days, like I'm looking at a Coach backpack. So I'm looking at 2 Coach backpacks. I got a promotion. Last time I got a promotion, I bought myself a little laptop sleeve from Coach. I think it was like $300. It's nice. I still have it. It's lovely. It's wonderful. I use it every day. And I have this kind of, it's not ratty. It's just, I have a backpack that like, it's a Swiss Army backpack, and it looks like a Swiss Army backpack, right? Like it looks like something. And I mean, you've seen me with it. I carry camera equipment in it. It's a great backpack.
Yeah, it is.
But I kind of feel like I want like a little, classy. Okay.
Get you some Louis Vuitton.
Exactly. Except she didn't get that big a promotion.
Don't get crazy.
Not the LV money there. She's like with the Gucci Coach money.
Gucci Coach. Okay, Gucci. They rap about Gucci. That's good. That's good.
So, but there's 2 backpacks that I'm deciding between, and it's been 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks, and I'm still. It's just, it's in my head. It's going back and forth. I'm using the backpack that I have and being like, what do I use it for? Where would one backpack be better than another? And I'm just going back and forth. So like, that's my owl. Like
you're owling the hell out of this backpack.
And I probably won't make a decision for another month.
But I'll still be there.
Yeah. It's not going away. It's still gonna be a thing. There's a price difference between the 2. That's kind of like, that's what's making the decision a little bit harder. It's like a $200 price difference. So like it's
the
not
$200 covered by the quality.
It's a little bit of a bigger bag, but that's the problem. Like it's not a direct, like, absolutely, I can see the difference for the price. One is an outlet item and one is a regular item, like a regular store item.
Does it's more dollar difference change the aesthetic enough for it to be prettier?
A lot of it.
Well, that matters.
Yeah, but it's still like, I'm also like, it's got to be functional, right? It's a backpack. I carry stuff to work in it every day. So this is an example where like I let that owl side run rampant with it because there's no pressure. There's no pressure on this decision. I do want it to be the right decision in the end.
But sometimes, okay, now that we're talking about this in terms of this owl creature, this is the same owl that hovers over you when you're trying to write.
Yes, it is.
This little screech owl needs to hush.
Yes. So, and this is where what you polish can sometimes have outsized effects in other ways. So, if we're talking about personality traits, like, if you really encourage your eagle, you're great at data analysis, right? You're great at sorting through all these details and really coming up with something unique and interesting and the decision is really well based and your projections for the future are really accurate. Like that's great. Like my budget for this year, except for one lab, was spot on. Spot on. We're hitting it right in the margin. We're a little bit under, just like I planned. Like everything is just going. It's going well. It's going very, very well. And that took me a week or 2 to put that budget together. So that's the good side. The bad side is that when I'm writing, I'm analyzing. Like I'm pulling data out, and I'm like, well, what's that sentence look like? Or well, how's that work together? And now what you've polished has an outsized effect on something else. So I think, I relate to what you're saying. I see the need for polish, and I get that focus on some of those things. But I think it's also interesting to understand that you need all of these elements. I think that's why I like this last assessment that I did, because it wasn't just you're a D, you're an I. Like, it wasn't just that, but it was like it actually showed the various levels, and it showed me what my work profile looks like, what my personal, or what I feel looks like, and then what I look like to myself in total. and it showed it with variable numbers. So it showed like a graph.
Where's how you look to other people?
Yeah. That's the first one.
Okay. So in listening to you talk, what I'm recognizing is that you can over polish.
Yes.
So it's not just prioritizing the polish that you want. Sometimes it's prioritizing the polish that you need. And so in your example, if your owl features are so cleanly polished that you can do budgets down to the penny, that's awesome. But that's not the same function as trying to create something de novo that's creative. It's you have to have the owl present for that process. But if your owl is so triggered to be flying around all the time that none of the other birds ever get to fly, that's not helpful. So in that instance, it seems like what this card is reminding us to do is to not only refine ourselves, but to do it from a position of balance, because you can over refine and then completely neglect something else, or you can be distracted in the process of trying to refine something and then it never happens. It's not just a straightforward practice of saying, I got to get better at this. What if you're already really good at that? Well, you brought something else you should be working on.
You brought up practice makes perfect. There's a lot of prodigies, right, who at a very young age are very proficient. And we find that the same thing with gifted children. We find prodigies and gifted children burn out because they're so overly focused on one thing, one area, that when they become adults, they don't have breadth, and you need breadth, right? Like in order to have a successful, happy life, most people need a job, a relationship, a home, and a self. You know, like something that, you know, an understanding of your own being. And in order to get those things, you need all sorts of different skills. You can't can't just be good at one or the other. Like if you're, you know, negotiating a salary, you need to be an eagle, right? You need to be an eagle at that time. You need to stand your ground, you know, but going into that conversation, you need to be an owl. You need to go do the research. What are you worth?
And what are you bringing to the table? So you have to be able to flex all your wings. So in terms of the reading, what is this saying to you about this purposeful refinement of the self? So going forward into the next four cards, what does this concept about self-improvement mean for what we're about to do next?
Well, I think we're going to explore something in life that requires work and effort, right? It requires polish, focus. It requires purposeful, intentional. I like the word intentional. It requires intention. Like we're about to talk about something that requires intention, but from a balance perspective, you like in ADD, you can hyper focus, right? And so it looks like you're very focused. And like, well, you focused on that video game for 16 hours. Like, of course, why can't you do your homework? And it's because that's an out of whack. Like that's out of order. That's too much, right? So in an intentional life, you need to have your balances. But I think a lot of spiritualism, like, it just focuses on like you talked about reincarnation, like it just focuses on karma, right? It just focuses on achieving nirvana, but it doesn't focus on what does your life have to look like so that you have the space to do that intention. Like what does the rest of you look like?
And I think we'll have to be careful going forward in the conversation about how we use the word discipline, because it can be so very good or so very bad, even in the same moment. So a lot of this type of effort and work and concentration and polish requires discipline. But what is your relationship to that discipline? Because if it gives you structure, if it gives you time, okay, well, that's what it's for. But if it starts to feel like you're punishing yourself, or if it's cutting out anything else as extraneous, then it's undermining you in terms of developing that breadth.
I am gonna pull a card. I got a big feeling today. I got some big energy. Somebody wants to talk. Let's see. It's this one here today. Oh, you're going to love this. This is number 3 in the major arcana, the creator. What you imagine, you can shape.
Well, excuse my French, but goddamn.
Mm-hmm. What you imagine, you can create. Or what you imagine, you can shape. The creator.
Speak to it then.
That's
awesome. I love that.
This is the Empress in the tarot, the Empress number 3. And generativity, this is the 3rd chakra. So, and it's funny, this is the throat chakra meets the 3rd chakra. So we have the 3rd eye meets the 3rd chakra. Now we have the throat chakra meeting the 3rd chakra. So speaking things into existence.
And doing. But not doing mindlessly. And here's the thing. You don't want to be working mindlessly, but you don't want to be working so mindfully that you drown. You know what I'm saying? Because if you like playing video games for 16 hours, that's mindless effort. But if you're polishing the same square centimeter of marble for 3 years, that's also not helpful. Mm-hmm. That's interesting. So if you can create it, you can shape it.
Yeah. What if you can imagine it, you can shape it.
If you can imagine it, you can shape it.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a real sense of this card of generativity, and it's funny. This is a character in my book, and it's this idea of this like fiery goddess, who took the raw materials of this universe, and shaped them into planet and people and animals, and spoke it into being. Yeah, brought everything out of raw elements and into creations. Mm-hmm. And I think that's an interesting idea, because for me, like, the creator isn't like the prime mover. There's the first card in the sequence is called the primal, and that's the prime mover, but they didn't shape things. They just brought the raw things into existence. So the de novo creation, but it was raw. It was unformed that they brought.
I want to say this before I lose the idea. We were saying that you bring your focus to something, you work on it, you don't overwork it, and then you move on. So even the creator did that with us. Like, some people want to say, oh, look at us, we're these perfect beings. It's like, no, we're not. And I don't just mean like in terms of sin or greed or anything like that. I'm talking about our bodies develop cancer. Mm-hmm. If we were perfect, if God had spent that much extra time on us making us perfect, we wouldn't age, we wouldn't get cancer, we wouldn't get diseases, we wouldn't kill each other. There's all sorts of stuff that's not perfect about us. So here's an example, if you want to keep this mystical, where even the gods themselves don't hyperfocus. They have their idea, they shape it, they do a good job, they polish it up, and then they move on to what's next. It's just interesting as an idea that if we are pulled from the elements and shaped and turned into these beings by whatever method of evolution plus goddess plus whatever that process is, we're not perfect. And really, it showcases that really nothing is quote unquote perfect, not the way we tend to hold up perfection as an ideal. There's these superstructures that are really fascinating, and there's patterns that are interesting, but ultimately, even God isn't a perfectionist. So why are you trying to be?
I just obviously my pantheon is inspired by Greek gods, because I think Greek gods and Norse gods as well are flawed creatures, and it's very interesting how to the Greeks their gods weren't omnipotent and omniscient. Like, you could hide from
saintly. They weren't nice. They were all jealous and having affairs with each other. They were greedy and petty.
Yeah. Just like the nation states that worshipped them and etc. And I don't have like a one for one. Like, I don't have an Aphrodite and I don't have a Zeus. I have 7 because I think it's a good number.
It's a great number.
And my gods are chakral based, so they have that going on for them. But the idea that they're like they created I think we're the 4th version of humans they created, or the 4th version of people that were created, and we were created because we weren't like the other ones were too good. they were too powerful. They were overthrow the gods, and like then what we are is a flawed creation. It's interesting because they like for Western Judeo-Christian, it's like the whole Adam and Eve. You brought sin into your life, therefore that's why you get cancer, and that's like. That's never really made sense to me.
It's like, so he loves you, so he puts this sin that he hates in you so that he can make you have to get it out of you. And if you don't, he's going to burn you up, but he loves you. I was like, girl, did anybody proofread this before you sent it to the editor? Like, oh my God.
No. And there was thousands. Yeah, that's a whole other subject, but like I have that's never made sense to me, but like the Greek idea that we were created flawed, like I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. And then if you look it up, like we talked about evolution, if you look at evolution, like evolution is about like flaws are what drives it, right? You need variation, you need a mutation in order for survival.
If the fabric of the universe were perfect, if all the particles were evenly spaced, if there weren't any like gravity pockets, there wouldn't be anything to cause anything to interact with anything. If you achieved actual perfection, there wouldn't be anything because nothing could interact. Everything would be in perfect balance and not reaching out and disturbing anything else. The only way anything can even exist is because of imperfection. So polish doesn't have to mean perfection. It can mean improvement, and whether that's technique or form or color or whatever concept, it doesn't have to be perfect. Polish doesn't mean perfect. That's why I didn't say practice makes perfect. That's why I said prioritize your polish, because I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm asking you to make choices or reminding you to make choices that feel like they're informing the sense of self you were talking about. So these reminders, even these two together, aren't reminding you to be perfect. They're reminding you that creativity is a process and perfection should not necessarily be the goal. But you can work towards an ideal, but the ideal shouldn't be perfection in and of itself. Because then the discipline comes in. Like when I was doing ballet, that is not the kind of discipline you want in your life. It's just not. And I'm sorry to all the ballet dancers out there who hear this. I'm not pulling a Timothée Chalamet on you. I think you're marvelous. I think your art is beautiful and vital. But the discipline that dancers live with is dangerous. It's not healthy. So don't bring that kind of discipline into your practice if you can help it.
Yeah, you bring up a good point about a discipline and going over like, and I think this is just a note, like something can be good for one person. It can be absolutely terrible for another. So there, like you brought up dancers, some ballet dancers, that's their life, and that structure works well. I mean, this is why.
Well, remember the breath you were talking about. What happens to a lot of dancers, ballet or otherwise, at the end of their very short career? The question is, well, what do I do now? I was doing this for 12 to 14 hours a day for the last 25 years. What can I be a secretary now? It's like, what am I supposed to do? It eats up. When you yourself are the instrument and you have to constantly be hammering that instrument into a shape, there isn't time to do other stuff necessarily. This is not, because the entire time is the energy and focus and polish of you as an instrument doing what has to be done in the space. It's a very consuming art form.
Yes. Yeah. And I don't mean to undermine that. What I mean to say is that, what's good for one person is not necessarily good for another. And you can't take the polish practice of someone else and just subsume it into your own. Like, we're both writers. We're not Stephen King, right? Like, we don't wake up and write 6 pages. It's just no. And it's fine. And that's fine. That works for him. And there are other authors that are like that, and that's awesome for them. But, also Stephen King stuff is a little formulaic, and like Dean Koontz, right? Like, they know what they do and they do it really well. Yeah. And that's fine. Like that's why the blockbusters exist, right? Like, we like, to consume media that is not overly challenging, right? Indie films are so hard sometimes because they don't want to be inside the template. They want to do things differently. They want to break the rules. And they're hard for people to digest sometimes. And, there's a spectrum, and there are people, I do like indie movies. I like it when the rules are broken. I like it when something can be true, but I also can't watch them all the time.
Fair.
I can't bring real life. Sometimes I need escape, and so what works for others, what the polish that works for others, you don't have to just be like, well, that's the only way. Like, the only way to write a book is not to wake up every morning and write 6 pages. You can only do that if you have the privilege of waking up every morning and writing 6 pages. I don't have that privilege. You don't have that privilege. We have to go out and get that money. Mm-hmm. For us, the creative act is in our personal time, which is limited. And so the polish that we need looks very different than the polish that a successful author needs.
Yeah, and the formula of writing 6 pages, that's a rule. I don't like rules.
No, you
as
do
soon
not.
as you tell me I have to write 6 pages, I'm like, I don't want to write 6 pages. I want to write 5 pages. Or you know what? I want to write 7 pages. What happens if I write 8? What happens? Or what if I skip 3 days and then write 15? Because I could do that too. Oh, excuse me, 18. So that's starting to show up in the ways in which each identity, each individual person has to evaluate their circumstances and their abilities and their deficiencies and figure out how to make priorities that they can live with. Mm-hmm. So, of course, everything that we're talking about is always going to be individualized to each person listening to us right now. It's not prescribing anything per se. These are just reminders. Be careful what you prioritize, and be careful of the type of discipline you bring to it. Just be mindful that you need a certain amount of discipline, but to not allow that discipline to become a disciplinarian. And
here also, you are, you're imagining and shaping. So there's you have to be careful what you imagine as well, because you will shape it. So if you imagine negative things, you will shape them.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can definitely see that being manifest everywhere.
Let's get another card.
Tetrahedron of Doom is calling for an abstract intersection. We're going to have a little bouquet.
Which deck is that?
The third deck, the intersections deck, where it's just the mandalas and the colors. Mm-hmm. Card number 24. Going to bring it back towards the heart. Oh, but we're still keeping the third eye. So here we are. This is green, wood, I love, the heart chakra, as it is intersected by the third eye, blue, water, I see, I love, and I see. So green on top and blue on bottom if you want to see the pretty card that we designed. So with I love, Anahata, wood, touching I see, Ajna, water, we're looking at the ways in which the way you make connections with people, because I love doesn't necessarily mean romantic love, it's I connect. The way your connections are informed by the way you perceive, learn, or understand. So if you are a person reaching out and making connections with others in the world, we're looking at the way in which you are evaluating those people intellectually, visually, upon first impressions. Not necessarily what they say or how they feel or what they do, but what do you know about them upon seeing them? How does that influence the way you connect to them?
All right, so our context was this sort of polish and some idea of balance in that. And then we have the creator, which is you imagine it and you shape it, a very generative card. Mm-hmm. And this card is, I feel like this is a pause, right? So you understand that you need balance. You are taking a very I think you're taking a very generative step. Like you're taking an action. Mm-hmm. You are doing something. And then this though is saying, reflect for a minute, connect with your heart, right? Connect with connection and look outward. So I think this is in the reading, we're getting a moment to pause, reflect, and think about what, right? You're shaping things, right? You're creating things, but what is that? What is the I love, right? What is the I connect? I am, with the other, like the eternal in me, right? Sees the eternal in you. When, what does that mean for your creative action? You're not in isolation. And I don't think this is to say that you have to be driven by what other people want. Like we were talking before the episode, like you went around and asked everybody, what do you want to see in porn? And they told you all sorts of things. Then when you made it, nobody liked it. And that's not true. People did like it. It was just ahead of its time. But you offered something that people said that they wanted, but they didn't come and support it like they should have if it was actually what they wanted. Mm-hmm. So it's not quite that, right? It's not saying you need to be completely justified by the thoughts and feelings of others. No, I don't think that's where we are with this one, but I do think it is saying there is a piece of you that needs to connect with a piece of them, and let that understanding that you're gaining influence what you're creating. So let the existence of the other help inform what you're doing, and through love, right? Connect through love and understand, right? And that's the third eye. The third eye is a very interesting kind of connection where you are seeing that you're not so different from other people, that in the terms of, reincarnation and nirvana and Buddhism, like you and them are not separate. You and them are connected. Like, and so that's, I think, recognizing yourself in others, recognizing others in yourself, that kind of moving beyond separation and individuation and into an idea of a collective consciousness, a collective existence.
And also, in taking this moment to pause and reflect, deciding whether or not the people you're connected to are even the ones who should be connected to you. Because if the creator is reminding you that you can imagine something and then shape it, part of that's going to be influenced by the way in which you interact with the world around you, and who's informing that. Who are you learning from? Who are you connected to? Are they helpful or unhelpful? If they're not helpful, is there a good reason for them to not be helpful? Like if, for example, if somebody's being discouraging for some reason, do they have a valid point? Or if somebody's just always your cheerleader, do they have any reason to always tell you that you're right? So there's this discernment about the way in which you're relating to other people and the way in which their influence is effective toward your ultimate goal. And I'm not saying that you just go through and pair people out if they're not quote unquote useful, but just recognizing who you're connecting to and what you understand about the relationship that you have with them. Because that's going to be an important part of how you form what you have imagined.
There's, I think, an idea about like connecting love, like you resolve conflict by assuming that the other person is acting in good faith, no matter how it's affecting you, no matter what you're hearing. Mm-hmm. You believe that they're trying to act in good faith with you. So if they are being critical, don't just go to the critical part. Go to what are they attempting to connect with me about? What's going on in their heart, in their mind, that's bringing this forward? And it could be about you. It could not be about you. Right? Yeah,
it could be a response that they have about their own life and they're projecting it onto you. Or it could be a very valid point that you didn't see yourself.
Yeah. And so I like your idea about receiving and understanding. I think that's what it is, like receive and understand. Separate fact from fiction, separate projection from sharing. Mm-hmm. Have, like you said, discernment of what you're receiving. So you're not beholden to it just because it was said to you, just because it was shared with you. It's not, and I experienced this with AI that I was using to help critique my book. I don't have to just accept what it said. And I've been processing that because it was, there's some very critical thoughts there. And I kind of had some thoughts last night, and I realized I really like this scene. I think it's important. It said no. It said absolutely not. I think I just need to earn the scene. That's what I think. And that's where I really what I've taken from it after thinking about it for weeks now, like a month. I don't know. Is that what it's telling me is that it came unexpectedly. It came too easily. We need to earn it. I need to earn it. But I think that scene's very important. I think that is a connection and a backstory, and it's a whole bunch of things. It's very character. And yes, it will feel out of place in the pacing of a blockbuster, but you still need the human moment.
Well, and also multiple truths can exist simultaneously. It can be an important scene. It can be unearned. It can be, as a result, not necessary right now, but that it can be brought into its fullness by being earned. So when you get criticism that feels harsh, there are instances where I've gotten criticism that was just flat out destructive. And I recognize that. I know what it looks like. Then there's other feedback that can be hurtful, even if it's not intended to be, because it hits at an assumption that you were making about your work, and now you have to figure out how to recontextualize it or admit that it needs to come out. But just because someone offers you feedback, that's all it is. It's an offer. Unless this is a work situation where your superior is telling that you must do something, these are all suggestions. These are all offerings. It's one of the reasons why I like the model for giving feedback that I've been using since graduate school, because it's a very open conversation, very open dialogue. It allows a conversation between the artist and the viewer. And when you have enough context, you can understand better how to interpret what you're receiving. So something else to remember when you're having these connections with people and you're trying to understand what you're receiving from them, if you can, ask questions, and not in a way that deflates or deflects or undermines what they're trying to share with you. They are sharing an experience with you. They have noticed something that you did not, or they have interpreted something that you did not intend. Something is happening here that is an opportunity for polish. Now, maybe you end up agreeing, and whatever this piece of feedback is, you do implement it, and whatever that detail is, it goes away. Or maybe by way of the conversation, you understand what they didn't understand, and they understand what you intended. Now that changes the reading of it, and you have a different conversation about that nuance, and then you get to keep it, but change it. That's the whole point of a conversation. Speaking with conversa. You're speaking back and forth. Dialogue. There should be two people talking. And with discipline, while you're part of the discipline of doing anything is taking feedback and implementing it in an effective manner. And this is where discipline can start to feel like a disciplinarian. If you feel obliged to disassemble and change and eradicate everything you've made every time somebody says something to you, then you're not allowing trust in yourself. You had this impetus to do whatever this is. It came from this generative place within yourself, and it has value. But other people want to see you succeed. They want to see you thrive. If we're going to operate on the assumption that people are acting in good faith, they want to see whatever this is become better. They may not have a sentimental attachment to you personally and care very much about how sensitive they are the way they say it, but they still are saying what they say or sharing what they share because they see a way for it to improve. And then it's up to us to decide through discernment how to take what's been given to us and apply it. So we shape what they're trying to shape before we shape anything else. Like there's feedback that I've gotten from people where it's like, if I had taken the initial feedback I got from my first novel, it wouldn't even be the same novel. And so instead I was like, well, I don't understand. I don't agree with this, but I don't want to just discount. So I gave the book to 10 people and I was like, could you please read this? Now that you've read it, can you tell me what you think of this feedback? And that ended up making her feedback useful because I had other people telling me how it was or was not useful. So it can be a multi-layered conversation that you're having about polish. Get as many different opinions as it can where possible. So,
all right, let's see what else we have to say here. Now that we've got our discerned set up here. All right, we got a card. Oh, interesting. This is the Sovereign of Flames. So this is the King of Wands. You are released from your shame. You are released from your shame.
So within the context of this reading, is that saying that you should be proud of your work?
Well, this is third chakra. So what blocks the third chakra, right? What blocks action is shame. Shame is I am bad. I am worthless. I am...
so this is what prevents you from taking action in the first place. Yep. So you can imagine something, you can shape it, but not until you feel yourself actually deserving and able to take the first step.
Versus power, right? So power enlivens the third chakra and shame closes it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think here, if you discern correctly, you will be released from your shame that is disempowering you. And I relate to this very strongly. Like we were talking about the book writing. Like I felt shame after I got the criticisms because I was like, oh, I'm not a good writer. I thought I was doing it. I thought I was better than I had been before, and the scores were telling me that I was better, but I missed something. I missed it, and it was because of how I was seeking the feedback. So we talked about getting the feedback and discerning, and used to talk to many other people. Like I was looking at too micro at the, and so
I want to pause you for just a moment. So, talking to multiple people. You haven't shown it to me, so I can't really say anything except that I like the ideas. I play Gigi and Jim off each other constantly. Are you doing that?
No, I don't like Gigi. I can't work with her.
Well, then Claude or something, but you're putting all of this into the faith that this one program is telling you what you need to hear, and they don't always all see the same material the same way. And what Gemini said has context, it has validity, it has whatever it has its value, but it's not necessarily true that the other AI will evaluate it the same way.
I hear you. I was asking the wrong question. I was giving it the wrong context and asking the wrong question. So it's not a matter like if it was saying the same thing when I asked the right question, then I would question it more. Mm-hmm. But I was asking the wrong question, so I was getting the wrong answer.
Have you since then asked the correct question?
Yes. Now, and I it was more about giving it the correct context. I was giving it chapter by chapter, and it was evaluating it chapter by chapter. So it was only evaluating a chapter at a time. And so I would tell it things about the context, but it wasn't seeing the context. I thought it was in the memory. I thought it was in its memory, and it just was remembering the other things. It was not remembering the other things. When I gave it the whole book at one go, then it was like, oh, I see the context now, and it gave me a completely different viewpoint because it was looking at the whole narrative put together rather than because I'm writing a chapter. I need to go critique the chapter. I need to look at the spelling and grammar. I need to look at the flow. I need to look at the the way the thing. And we made good. So the chapters are very good by themselves, but the flow of the chapters, right? The development was what was missing. And now and I asked it to be very harsh, and it was very harsh. Like I asked for it. I've toned it down now. I'm like, you're a helpful, you're a helpful editor.
When you ask it to be harsh, that to me sounds like your disciplinarian coming out.
Yes.
Remember, discipline versus disciplinarian. We don't need the AI or a paid editor or friends to partially read and then invent everything else. We don't need them coming through and slashing the skin off our backs.
No, and my eagle was coming forth and in all of this because I was like, I want to get published. I want to create a publish. And I historically, and you understand this, I historically have not written things that are necessarily publishable, that they don't fit within a genre and a reader base, etc. So this book, my intention is to write something that does fit within genre and within reader bases, so that there is an audience for it. That is my intention.
So a question for your process going forward. With that in mind, why not then ask it before you even write the chapter what you should write in your own words? It's not writing it for you, but if there are certain plot beats and senses of, short sentences versus long sentences, why not just ask for that as a what's it called, as a checklist, and then write the chapter to that checklist and then slide it in where it says it needs to fit?
I do. But you're
doing it chapter by chapter without showing it the whole book as it was growing.
Yes. And
I understand. Okay.
We plotted the general beats, right, that need to be hit. I know the beats, and that the feedback that gave me was I was absolutely hitting the genre beats 100%. I was doing it 100%. It was some of the other elements, and it was really a matter of I was writing things more at a YA level in one of the subplots.
Mm-hmm.
And it's inspired by OYA, so it makes sense that, it was veering more YA. And so I had to kind of take that feedback, and like the core elements of the book, I was hitting perfectly. The romance, perfect. All the moments were there. All of the angst was there. It was great. It was this other plot line that I had lost focus on because it wasn't the main plot line, and the thread got lost, and so now it's intersecting the main plot, and it's distracting. It's it's unearned. It's at bad. It wasn't complementing. It was intersecting. So when it read those chapters, it critiqued those chapters within just the context of that chapter, but not within the context of the flow.
So your owl is wasting time, Dean. What you just described sounds like a very simple fix in some ways. So I would caution the owl from making you think about this for a month at a time, because I hear everything you just said. And a lot of times these fixes are like a paragraph here and a sentence there. And it's not the end of the world. You're writing a good story. So please don't allow the one opinion out of context of this machine to derail you for a month at a time. You just can't do that. We only have so much time on this planet. You have important stories to tell.
I needed the time. I hear what you're saying. I needed the time because there was a fundamental question in all of this, which is, how does the power of a god work? And it's a fundamental question because it shapes. And then the other fundamental question is, how does this society that has stagnated react to a catalyst like the power of God? So there was these two fundamental questions that I did need to wrestle with. Like I did need to,
fair enough,
to bring together. But to come back to the card without going, this is great
to the card and talking about shame.
Well, this is a great therapy session for Dean, but like to make this a little bit more relatable to others, I felt shame at this moment of criticism, and that is very owl of me and very parrot of me at the same time, because it activated the critic very strongly, right? So it activated the owl very strongly, the critic, and I deactivated the parrot, which was the ideas and creation. And I felt shame. Once that hits you, you can't just snap out of it, right? We're not Cher.
No, of course.
We can't just snap out of it. So I think the reason this card's here is because you do need permission sometimes to let it go. Like you need permission to let it go, to not let it affect you and let it depower you. Shame is there to correct us at important moments, but it's not, it's overly felt, I think, a lot, especially in our society where we, use shame far too much.
Well, we value perfectionism in a way that's not healthy as well. But, whether you're an accountant or a writer or a dancer, whatever the shame moment is, shame is a teacher, but teachers need to go on lunch break. Yeah.
Well, this is like, I have severe back pain. I had surgery. It helped for a while. It stopped helping. We're doing some other things, this, that, and the other thing. And I have my pain management doctor, and he could just be like, you're, 300 pounds. You need to lose weight. That's why you're in pain. And but instead he's like, the Ozempic, right? The Wegovy. He's like, I've been using it in small doses. He's pretty, like, for his age, he's a little overweight. He's not a perfect body, right? But he's not in a bad place. So he's been using small doses to kind of reduce his body weight a little bit. And he's like, this is something that's helped me. I think it would be useful for you. And yeah, he's like, we need to accept the fact that with less body weight, there's less pain. Mm-hmm. And I told him then, because we're having a conversation, I told him, actually, what I want is to reduce the pain enough to where I can go back to strengthening exercises that you and I did 15 years ago or 10 years ago. I forget how many years ago, 10, 12 years ago. Because at that time I had an injury, but I was able to strengthen my back and the pain went away. And that's
2012, 2013. Yeah. So yeah, 12, 13 years ago at this point. That's crazy. How long have I known you, old lady? Oh my God.
Goodness.
Oh my goodness.
But that's so, like, he could have shamed me. Like, a lot of doctors shame patients in that moment. Yeah. He could have shamed me. He didn't. He just had a conversation.
This helped me, it might help you.
Yeah. He just had a conversation, introduced the idea, and I know it. And apparently it's really easy. The fact that it's so easy is turning me off from it. We can analyze that.
Don't be turned off by it. I have clients who use it, and I'm a personal trainer. And, of course I prefer that people not need it, but it's a tool. Just like anything, AI is a tool, Wegovy is a tool. They're all tools. And in some ways, a lot of this isn't even our quote unquote fault. The food we eat is engineered for us to fail. A lot of the snacks and prepared meals and fast food, they contain chemicals in them that suppress your feeling of fullness and jack up your sense of hunger. So they hijack your system and effectively force you to eat a bunch of food that will never make you feel full, just so you'll go buy more of it. And you don't even know which foods those ingredients are included in sometimes. So to a certain degree, this stuff isn't even our responsibility. We're being fed poison. And if you have access to a tool that can help offset some of that damage, then use it, especially if your insurance covers it. If it's not out of pocket for you and you have access to it, then use it. Because especially as we age and our metabolisms change, it's just going to become harder and harder to lose it, quote unquote, on your own.
Yeah.
And if diets worked, you wouldn't have a diet industry. It would be simple math, calories in, calorie out. And it's not true. I don't know why people keep clinging to this idea that calories in and calories out, simple math, and ta-da, I lose weight. That doesn't work. If it worked that way, everybody would lose weight. So if you have access to the tool, don't be turned off by it. It can really help. But you have to also adjust behavior with it so that when you come off it, it doesn't all just come right back. But it gives you that buffer to start adjusting your behavior, whether it's diet or exercise or all the above or whatever, so that you need it less. When you come off it, your metabolism's already changed and you don't just bring all the weight back on. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So don't put your nose up at it. If it can help you get out of pain, then do it. Mm. Don't suffer. That's something else we do too much in our culture. We have shame and we suffer.
Well, because you think you deserve it.
Yeah, and we want stuff to be difficult because then it feels earned. But if you have a way to reduce your pain, do it.
You just put the nail right on the head there. I've always felt and been told I have to earn it.
You have earned it. You've lived to be this age. You have this job. You have access to these insurance policies. You have earned it. You've earned access to this tool. You have the education, the experience, the expertise. Use the tool.
Let's get our final card.
Oh, going back to Sassy. Oh hell, what's she got to say now?
We start there and we end there.
Here we go. She's rolling all over the place. 11.
Oh.
That's gonna be down in. That's gonna be down somewhere in orange.
Yeah, gonna go low. Yeah.
Yep, orange and aqua. So this is I feel and I say. This is metal in my system and air. This is the way in which we, the way I feel is impacted by I say. So instinct, sensations, sensuality, inner voices. If I didn't say instinct already, anything that's I feel versus I say, how you communicate. So how your feelings are impacted by the way you communicate. Gush your brilliance. Brag in your journal. Belly laugh every day. Express something positive. Gush your brilliance. Brag in your journal. Belly laugh every day. Express something positive.
Well, it's kind of the perfect end, right? Like, gush your brilliance. We've had this. I looked at the notes, not in the last 5 episodes, but we have had this a little bit more recently. Gush your brilliance. Okay. Yeah.
Here we are being creative, being emotive, having connections, having discussions, having conversations. Let it all come out, honey.
Well, and bragging your journal, all of this may not be ready for consumption, right? Like, I am trying to make something consumable and I want to put it out there and I want to get it consumed 100%. That may not be you at this moment. That's okay. That may not be you. You might just be doing this for you. You might be doing a fan fiction because you feel like there's something missing in what you're seeing and you want to create it. Like, you want to shape the thing that's not there. And that's fine. And maybe you'll post it on AO3, maybe you won't. I don't know. It's fine. You know, you are you
talking about you're talking about me personally?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, the general you. Yeah. No, you're not. Yours isn't fanfic. Yours is just crazy. It's just
I'm gushing my brilliance.
Yes, you are.
and you know, if we've been released from our shame, it means we can be released from our fear. Let your freak flag fly, honey. Every now and then, not necessarily always, but what the card's reminding us is that we have a right and actually a duty to be our most brilliant selves, because that's the way in which we can give the best parts of ourselves to everybody else. And in letting go of shame and fear and doubt and all this other, you really can be free. Now, I'm not saying to be so gushingly brilliant that you're Nero and you think you're this amazing musician and you don't do anything while the city burns down. I'm not talking about that kind of gushing. I'm talking about when you brag in your journal, you say the nice stuff about yourself that you don't necessarily need other people to hear, but you want to acknowledge. Write that down and look at it. Look at your journal and be like, yeah, I did that shit. That's me. And gush it. Be proud of it. Because ultimately, all of this is this big, huge struggle, and there's all these obstacles, and you just don't even need to articulate it because everybody knows what I'm talking about. So in those moments where you can celebrate, do. They will help you get through toward whatever your goal is. You have to have moments of celebration. Even the church knows that. And the church thrives on shame. And yet the church made a calendar chock full of saints' days for all these celebrations throughout the entire year. Because without those moments of pleasure, without happiness, without joy, is this worth it? I mean, really, is any of it worth it if you can't enjoy something? So even a system that was based on shame still built pleasure into it. I mean, the Catholic nations, they're closed more than they're open. There's a lot of saints. So, you know, find those. It's just a reminder here. Find those moments where you can celebrate yourself and really take pleasure and enjoy how good you are at something.
Yeah. And the shame here of, and there's also the second chakra, so there's some guilt that you can free yourself from. Like, don't feel guilty when you can't do this. Don't feel guilty when you can do this. We talked about there's only so many hours that you have to dedicate to things. I'm working on a doctorate, so I don't have time to dedicate to the book except here and there, because I have other things that I prioritize. Right? We talked about polish your priorities, or prioritize your polish. I've prioritized a doctorate, and I have to work on that. So I'm not going to have all this free time to work on the book, at least not right now. Now the semester's over, then maybe some more. And that's life. You have multiple priorities that you're working on, so don't feel the guilt at not working on one or the other, or not working on all of them at the same time. You work on the ones that you are in front of you right now. I think that's what this last card is really showing us is, be positive to yourself about what you're accomplishing when you're accomplishing it, and don't get guilty that you didn't accomplish something else. You don't have to accomplish it all at once.
And, in our culture, we talk a lot about polish and excellence and perfection, mastery and all this. A C is average, C is not failing. Sometimes you're average. That's okay.
A lot of times you're average.
That is so okay for you to be almost average at almost everything, and to be really good at something else and really terrible at something else. You don't have to achieve every award. You don't. And if you try to, you won't get anything done. You'll just be kind of above average at everything. So, embrace being average in many, many ways. It's good enough. Some stuff is just good enough. And then you have the energy to put towards what you actually want to do.
What's crazy about average is that in other countries, other system scales, 50 is average. It is, if you take the IQ test, 100 is average. What that means is that half the people are above that and half the people are below that. That's what average means.
Yep, that's what
70
it means.
is above average. That's the craziest part about our grading scale in the US, is that 70 is above average. 70 is actually a really good score.
But everyone wants a 93 or higher.
If you scored a 70 on the IQ test, you're incredibly intelligent. So just because you're average doesn't mean you're bad in some way.
Well, that's what I'm glad you said. Just because you're average specifically does not mean you're bad. It means you're average. That's very specifically what it means, that you are not bad at whatever this is. Now, there's some stuff that I'm bad at. I don't understand car engines. I don't know. And I'm poor at it. Okay. I can be really great at something else, and being poor at this other has no impact on me.
Nope.
Until I'm trying to have a conversation about cars with people who know about cars. And then I feel shame for not knowing about cars. Because it happens every time I have to go into a mechanic, and they ask me if I've got a voltage 947 capacitor. I was like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. The car makes this sound. Meh, fix it. But then they embarrass me because I don't know about cars. And that's the way people feel about all sorts of stuff. But you can be average, baby. Be average. Prioritize your polish. Don't be an expert at everything. You'll drive yourself crazy.
Well, you can't be, and you don't need to be.
That's why we have other people run around the world to make relationships with. They fill in our gaps. We fill in theirs. And we can all be average together.
Stop living your life for the assholes. Like, if you go to a mechanic and they shame you for something, they're assholes.
Yeah.
That's assholes. They're the experts. They know that. If they need to lord that over you, they're an asshole. Go to a different mechanic. I'm going to go take my car in today. They don't make they don't make me feel like ashamed. I'm like, you're the experts. You tell me.
Yeah. What you're making me feel right now is how you'd feel walking into a dance studio. So just stop.
We have a members only. It's patreon.com/DeanSageMedia. You can get longer episodes and hear how the reading affects us personally, what we think about it, and how we kind of processed it for ourselves. So longer episodes, more insights from our personal lives. We do have a YouTube. It's Show Your Deck on YouTube. You can see the pretty colors and beautiful cards that we've constructed while we're doing the reading. Books and decks are available at showyourdeck.com. Jack's books are available through Jack. My books are available through Amazon, both Kindle Unlimited and in paperback and hardback. And our decks are available through a third-party distributor. Jack, where can we find you?
I'm at 49 Haiku. So that's the number 4, the number 9, HAIKU. On the interwebs, that's 49haiku.com. And on Instagram, it is at 49haiku.
And I am Dean Sage Media. Find me if you dare. We do have an Instagram for the show. It's at your deck. And we will say goodbye.